Hello you guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, you're watching BookedonCharity, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you a list of 12 fantasy series that I want to start in 2025. These are mainly books that I own from my shelves because I'm trying to work through my shelves, and I realized this year I did finish like one or two series that was on my list and might have pushed one or two series as well, but I didn't make a big dent. So next year I want to try and prioritize some of these series. Some of the series I've got the complete works, and others I'm still collecting. And even when I'm doing my book purchases recently, I'm trying to focus on completing series that I already own. So without wasting any more time, here are the 12 book series that I want to get started in 2025. A disclaimer, I will not know the name of every series that I'm going to show you, and if it's not specifically mentioned in any of the books, I'm just going to refer as the first book title as the name of the series, okay? Forgive me, but the author should have done a little bit better. I'm not here to learn all of these titles and the names of the series as well. It's just too much. So the first series I want to show you is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is what it looks like. So I've got book 1 and book 2. So we've got Strange the Dreamer, and then we've got The Muse of Nightmares, and these are by Laini Taylor. So I've heard really good things about Laini Taylor's writing. I've heard that it's very purple prosy, and I think like a bit mind-bending, very magical. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what it's about, but I picked it up on a whim because some of the booktubers that I love watching have loved this series and have deemed it one of their favorites. So I'm just gonna read a little bit of the back from book 1 just to give you an idea, and me as well, what we can expect from the series. So it says, the dream chooses the dreamer. Since he was 5 years old, Laszlo Strange has been obsessed with the mythical lost city of Weep, but it would take someone bolder than he to go in search of it. Then a stunning opportunity presents itself in the person of a hero called Godslayer and a band of legendary warriors, and he has to seize his chance or lose his dream forever. What happened in Weep to cut it off from the world? What did the Godslayer slay that went by the name of a god? And what is the mysterious problem he now seeks help in solving? The answers await in Weep, but so do many other mysteries, including the blue-skinned goddess who visits Laszlo's dreams. So I'm interested in this one. I'm expecting some mind-bending stuff. As a dreamer, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I've heard really good things and I can't wait to get started on it. Currently there's 2 books as far as I know. I don't know if there's gonna be more books in the series of this or if this is a duet, but I will do a little bit of research afterwards and I will find out. Next up, I've got a series that I've had with me, I want to say for the last 2 years. And for the last 2 years, I've been telling myself that I need to read it. And I've got the whole trilogy. I've got everything. I'm missing nothing except for I need to sit down and actually pick up these books. And the books that I'm talking about is from the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. So we've got Lady Midnight, which is book 1. We've got the Lord of Shadows, which is book 2. And then we've got Queen of Air and Darkness. I don't know if it's the size of these books that intimidate me, but I have no idea. But one thing I know for sure is that I absolutely want to read this series, and I'm looking forward to picking it up one day, because as I keep saying, me reading this series is to give me a bit of background on Cassandra Clare's writing, and I've heard that this is a great series to read before I get into the next series, which I will show you after this. But yeah, let's read a bit of the synopsis from book 1 so we can see what to expect. So this one says, in a kingdom by the sea, in a secret world where half angel warriors are sworn to fight demons, parabatai is a sacred word. A parabatai is your partner in battle. A parabatai is your best friend. Parabatai can be everything to each other, but they can never fall in love. You know they're gonna do it. It says Emma Casteres is a warrior, a shadow hunter. She lives for battle alongside her parabatai Julian Blackthorn. She patrols Los Angeles where vampires party on the Sunset Strips and fairies, the most powerful of supernatural creatures, teeter on the edge of war with shadow hunters. When the bodies of humans and fairies are found murdered in the same way Emma's parents were when she was a child, an uneasy alliance is formed. This is Emma's chance for revenge and Julian's chance to get back to his brother Mark, who is being held by the fairy courts. All they have to do is solve the murders within 2 weeks before the murderer targets them. Looking forward to this one. I had started it, I want to say, because a bit of what I'm reading now sounds a little bit familiar. I probably read like a chapter or two and I put it down and never went back. So I definitely want to pick this series up again. I might even like consider maybe starting it in December so that I can kind of like get myself in it. I feel like I just need to read the first book to kind of like give me that momentum to keep going. But yeah, looking forward to the Dark Artifices series. This is a trilogy. I know that once I get in there, I read, I finish, and then I'm done with the series. Like a lot of the series on here, you will see that it's books that or series that are complete, and I just want to read and get them read and know that I've done something for my bookshelves. The next series I've got is the Lost Hour series, also by Cassandra Clare. So this will already give me like 6 books to read from Cassandra Clare. And I also want to read the new book that came out, I want to say this year. And this one is called Sword Catcher. It's the first book in an adult fantasy series, so I wanted to get these ones out of the way and then I can read Sword Catcher. But the first book in the Lost Hour series is Chain of Gold. I went to the trouble of spending money to get these beautiful hardcovers, but I haven't read the books. And then I've got Chain of Iron, which is book 2, also absolutely stunning. And then thirdly, this one unfortunately is not in hardcover, but I've got Chain of Thorns, which is book 3. And the reason that I want to read The Lost Artifices first is because it gives you a bit of background on the Shadowhunter world. And I know that Cassandra Clare has a lot of other books like The Immortal Instruments, which I've heard good things about, but I'm not really sure I want to like go back and read. This is like YA fantasy, but it's one that she's well known for. There's the Infernal Devices that I'm not really particularly interested in. And then we've got the Dark Artifices, and then The Lost Hours is not her most recent, but it's her most recently completed series. And then now we're starting on with the Sword Catcher. So this one says, an inheritance of shadows, a love in chains, an inconquerable foe. Cordelia Casteres is a shadow hunter. You see what I mean? Shadow hunters all around, guys. I need to understand what they do. A warrior trained since childhood to battle demons. When her father is accused of a terrible crime, she and her brother travel to London in hopes of preventing the family's ruin. Cordelia's mother wants to marry her off, but Cordelia is determined to be a hero rather than a bride. Soon Cordelia encounters childhood friends James and Lucy Herondale and is drawn into their world of glittering ballrooms, secret assassinations, and supernatural salons where vampires and warlocks mingle with their mermaids and magicians, magical beings all around. All the while, she must hide her secret love for James, who is sworn to marry someone else. Like, I think I didn't mention, but all of these books are fantasy romance. These are like the core of fantasy romance. Cassandra Clare is well known for writing fantasy romance as well. And then it says, but Cordelia's new life is blown apart when a shocking series of demon attacks devastate London. These monsters are nothing like those that Shadowhunters have fought before. These demons walk in daylight, strike down the unwary with with incurable poison and seem impossible to kill. London is immediately quarantined. Trapped in the city, Cordelia's friends discover that a dark legacy has gifted them with incredible powers and now forces a brutal choice that will reveal the true cruel price of being a hero. So we love a hero story. So yeah, this is the next series that I want to get read and I can archive on my shelves and not just leave it there unread, taking up space, you know what I mean? And then another trilogy that is complete. I've got a lot of trilogies, and like I said, I've got a lot of series that's already completed, and therefore I have no excuses not to pick them up. So this is the Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. These are the books. So first we've got A Darker Shade of Magic, and then we've got A Gathering of Shadows, and then lastly A Conjuring of Light. So I was already supposed to have read this series this year together with Vuvu, but at the time that she started it, I was not technically in a reading slump, but my reading was very, very slow and I never got to the books. So I want to try again next year. At this point, because I have a lot of books that I'm planning for December, I don't think I'll get time to get into the series, so I'm pushing it into 2025. So let's read the synopsis from A Darker Shade of Magic. So this one says, Kel is one of the lost travelers, magicians with a rare ability to travel between parallel universes connected by one magical city. There's Grey London without magic and ruled by the Mad King George III. There's Red London where magic is revered and where Kel was raised alongside the heir to the empire. White London, where people fight to control the remaining magic and magic fights back. And once there was Black London. There's a book, right, that came out earlier this year, which is set in the same world as the Shades of Magic series. And I didn't want to pick up that book because I knew that I had to be here first, which is also another reason that I wanted to read this book, the series this year, but I didn't get to it. So looking forward to reading this one. Heard fantastic things about V.E. Schwab. I only read one book from her so far, and the duology with Vicious and Vengeful is definitely another one that I am interested in, and obviously The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I keep hearing amazing things about. So yeah, looking forward to reading more from V.E. Schwab. All right, the next series I have is a new one, and I keep asking myself if I need to go back and read the author's previous works before I get into this one, and I'm hoping that the answer is no, but like I'm worried. I'm worried because it talks about this being a novel of elf flame, and if you already know what I'm talking about, you'll know that I'm talking about Holly Black. And we've got two new books from Holly Black. So we've got The Stolen Heir, and then we've got The Prisoner's Throne. These are new releases, but we've got other books that she has written. So we've got The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing, which all form part of the Folk of Air series, and they also then list The Stolen Heir, The Prisoner's Throne, and there is a novella called How the King of Elf Flame Learned to Hate Stories. So I really do feel like I need to read The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. So I'll probably maybe check out that trilogy from my library and read that off of my Kindle before I pick these ones up. So let's count The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing as part of this series for me to read in 2025, because I'm having a feeling that if I go into this one blind, I will not know what's going on. And I hate doing that, going into a series. It really affects my enjoyment of it, and I don't want to give the series and the books a low rating because I didn't do research and didn't understand the history of the story. But also it's just like, ugh, why give us all this work? Not all of us were with you, when you did your first series. At least I don't know, man, do something else, give us history, something. But yeah, that's the next series I want to get into. The next series I want to get into is a sci-fi series, and this is the Three Body Problem by Xijin Liu. So it is a trilogy, but we also have a book that I don't know if it's a short story. Oh, it's a short story collection, which is Hold Up the Sky. So Hold Up the Sky is a short story collection, but I'm adding it in here because I plan on reading it after I'm done with the original trilogy. And in the trilogy, we've got The Three Body Problem as book 1. We've got The Dark Forest as book 2. And then we've got Death's End as book 3. So I tried to read this, I want to say 2 years ago, but I don't know if I was not in the mood for it or I couldn't understand what was going on when I tried to read, and then I put it down because I'm like, oh, I don't want to force myself. Let me read it when I'm ready. And then the Netflix TV series came out. Me and my husband watched it, as he and I do, and we loved it. We loved it so much that we are like anticipating season 2. But before season 2 comes out or before we watch it, I want to at least get started on reading the story and compare that to the TV series. But I'm really excited for this one. So this one reads, 1967, year when Ji witnesses Red Guardians beat her father to death during China's Cultural Revolution. This singular event will shape not only the rest of her life, but also the future of mankind. 4 decades later, Beijing police asked nanotech engineer Wang Miao to infiltrate a secretive cabal of scientists after a spate of inexplicable suicides. Wang's investigation will lead him to a mysterious online game and immerse him in a virtual world ruled by the intractable and unpredictable interactions of its 3 sons. This is the 3 body problem, and it is the key to everything, the key to the scientist's death, the key to a conspiracy that spans light years, and the key to the extinction level threat humanity now faces. Like, I found the series to be so interesting, and as I watched, I was just like, I need to read it. I need to read it because I'm enjoying watching it so much, and we all know that the books are always better. The books, except for The Vampire Diaries, because I've heard that The Vampire Diaries, the TV series, is way better than the books, and I will believe it, even though I haven't read the books, but I will believe that. But in most cases, books are better than the series, but I want to prove that for myself, and I've got the whole trilogy on here complete, and this has been translated by Ken Liu. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think after I'm done with Xijin Liu, I will start probably picking up Ken Liu's books, because Ken Liu has also written a couple of sci-fi fantasy books, and I'm looking forward to them. I've been like watching them in the bookstores and like having my eye on them. But yeah, Xijin Liu is going to be the next series that I'm adding on my list. And then we've got one that I've had. All of these series I've actually had for a long time. Hey, I've had them for a long time, and I'm not sure. This one, I want to say it's a series because the second book does follow book 1. I don't know what the name of this series is, but I am talking about Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So Ninth House came out, and I don't know if it was meant to be a standalone, but then recently Hellbent was released as well. So I did start Ninth House, but I also think it was a case where I was not in the mood for it and I wasn't enjoying it at the time, so I had to put it down because I've heard great things, and if I hear great things, I'm like, I want to give it all the chances I could give it. So let me put it down. I'm not in the mood for it. Let me find the right time for it, and then we try again. But Ninth House reads, welcome to the Ninth House. Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikable member of Yale's freshman class, a dropout and the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. Alex was hoping for a fresh start, but her free ride comes with a catch. She has been tasked with monitoring Yale's secret societies, notorious haunts of the rich and powerful. Now there's a dead girl on campus, and Alex is the only person willing to look deeper, because the societies are far more sinister and extraordinary than anyone ever imagined. They tamper with forbidden magic they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. So I'm looking forward to this one. The Sunday Times says, a tale of power, privilege, and dark magic. Ninth House is Lee Bardugo's mesmerizing Sunday Times best-selling adult debut. So looking forward to it. Yeah, heard good things about Ninth House. I don't know much about Hellbent, but I think I just kept away from reviews or anything because I knew that I still wanted to come back to Ninth House. And yeah, looking forward to finally getting into this one. The next series I've got is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I just hate that the last book is not the same size as everything else. I think if I find the fourth book in a paperback, I'm definitely gonna replace it, hopefully with the old paperbacks, because I'm still not convinced in investing in the new republished, re-edited versions, because I already own everything. So I'm like, unless somebody's willing to like give me the whole series, then I'm fine. But I'm a little bit worried about if she continues to write these stories, because I heard that there's like new plots and things like that. I'm like, why are you leaving us out, and why are you trying to force all of us to reread the books? I don't know. But anyway, we've got The Bone Season, which is book 1. We've got The Mime Order, which is book 2. We've got The Song Rising, which is book 3. And then we've got The Mask Falling, which is book 4. There is a novella. When I read, because I've already read The Bone Season over 2 years, maybe 3 years ago, but I am gonna go back and reread because I don't remember much. I know that the time that I read this book, I found myself being very confused. And I realized that there is a prequel to the story, and I'm just gonna find it because in this copy that I have, the prequel does exist at the back of the book. So essentially the actual book is this long, the rest of this is the prequel. But I didn't know, because at the time I remember I went and found the prequel on Everand, and it wasn't an ebook, and I had to struggle and read that ebook on my phone because I didn't have Kindle then. But later on I realized that they actually have the prequel at the back of the book. I don't know if this is the case for the new prints, the new books that have been published, but yes, I will start at the back and read The Pale Dreamer, which is a novella. It gives you a bit of history and explanation on especially the main character and her magical abilities and how that works, because they do not explain it in book 1. So that's why I found myself a little bit confused, so I had to go back. So if you are reading this book, be aware of that, and just know that the novella is available at the back on the specific copy of books. So The Bone Season says, for the past 200 years, the Scion government has led an oppressive campaign against unnaturalness in London. Clairvoyance in all its forms have been decreed a criminal offense, and those who practice it viciously punished. Forced underground, a clairvoyant underworld has developed, combating persecution and evading capture. Paige Mahoney, a powerful dreamwalker operating in the Seven Dials district of London, leads a double life, using her unnaturalness illegally while hiding her gift from her father, who works for the Scion regime. I didn't even remember this. See why I have to reread. This is why you reread, children. But yeah, this is the series as it stands right now. Like I said, I don't know if the author is looking at continuing with the series, because I've only read book 1, so I don't know what happens at the end of The Mask Falling. And if she is deciding to continue to book 5, I am worried. I'll probably just watch people's reviews and things like that to fill in the gaps so that I can continue with it. But I will be a bit upset because I don't think that she'll release the books in these covers anymore. The next series we've got is the Far Lady Fortune duet. I believe that this is a duet. Am I quoting? Yes, so it's the Far Lady Fortune duet. And Far Lady Fortune is book 1, and then we've got Foulheart Huntsman as book 2. And at the back it says it's 1931 in Shanghai, and the stage is set for a new decade of intrigue. 4 years ago, Rosalind Lang was brought back from the brink of death, but the experiment that saved her also stopped her from sleeping and aging, and lets her heal from any wound. In short, Rosalind cannot die. Now desperate for redemption of her treacherous past, she uses her abilities as an assassin for her country. Codename Fortune. But when the Japanese Imperial Army begins its invasion march, Rosalind's mission pivots. A series of murders is causing unrest in Shanghai, and the Japanese are under suspicion. Rosalind's new orders are to infiltrate foreign society and identify the culprits behind the terror plot before more of her people are killed. To reduce suspicion, she must pose as the wife of another nationalist spy, Orion Hong. Although Rosalind finds Orion's cavalier attitude and playboy demeanor infuriating, she is willing to work with him for the greater good. Sounds like a romance. But Orion has an agenda of its own, and Rosalind has secrets that she wants to keep buried. As they both attempt to unravel the conspiracy, the two spies soon find that there are deeper and more horrifying layers to this mystery than they ever imagined. So yeah, looking forward to this one. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the series or this duet, but I have it. I want to read it, so I guess you guys have to wait for that reading vlog where I talk about the series. The next series needs no introduction from me, and that is A Song of Fire and Ice by George R.R. Martin. If you can tell, I don't have all the books because this man has written. Let me see how many books are on here. So I'm still collecting. Let's see. And there's also book 1s and book 2s, like part 1 and part 2s of the book. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 7. So there's actually 7 books in the series, which does not include this prequel. This follows the Targaryen family, and this one is called Fire and Blood, and this is what the TV show is also based on. I still need to watch season 2. I haven't watched season 2 yet, but yeah, this one is called House of the Dragon. I started this one as well, I want to say last year. I even have like a bookmark in here, but I forgot about it at some point, and now I feel like I have to go back and restart listening to this whole thing. Also, the writing in this one is so tiny. It's so tiny. Look at that. It looks like, look how tiny. So this one definitely intimidating, but I feel like I wanted to read this one to get a bit of the history of the Targaryens before I go into the actual series. So the TV series is one of my all-time favorite TV series ever, and I've watched it almost 3 times, and I've enjoyed everything. I enjoyed everything about it. I did a rewatch earlier this year, got obsessed with it all over again, which made me want to read the books. So I'm collecting the books specifically in these like black covers. So the books that I currently have is A Game of Thrones, which is book 1. We've got A Feast of Crows. I don't know where this falls in the series. It's not important right now. I've got A Storm of Swords, and this is book 2 in Storm of Swords, or part 2, called Blood and Gold. I've got A Dance with Dragons, Focus, and this one is part 1, Dreams and Dust. So I still have a lot of books to collect, but I like that I have the prequel and I've got book 1, and then I will sort out the rest throughout the year as I keep on collecting. But I'm just gonna read the back of A Game of Thrones for you guys, for those who don't know what the story is about, which I highly doubt. Okay, but it's fine. It says, the first book of A Song of Fire and Ire. Summer spans decades, winter can last a lifetime, and the struggle for the Iron Throne has begun. As Warden of the North, Lord Eddard Stark counts it as a curse when King Robert bestows on him the office of the Hand. His honor weighs him down at court, where a true man does what he will and not what he must. and a dead enemy is a thing of beauty. The old gods have no power in the south. Stark's family is split and there is treachery at court. Worse, the vengeance-mad heir of the deposed Dragon King has grown to maturity in exile in the free cities. He claims the Iron Throne. Oh, this doesn't even begin to explain the kind of political intrigue, the kind of like battles that you find in the Game of Thrones. It's just, this is the epitome of epic, okay? And I'm so excited to finally find the time to read this series in 2025. I'm looking forward to it. The next series I've got is another sci-fi, and this one I've been meaning to get into for a while, and I thought I would have already started it by now, but I haven't. And book one has been on my TBR card for a very long time, and we'll see if I can get it started in December, but I'm not sure. And it's another one that has been turned into a TV series, which I also want to get into. So we've got a lot of reading to do, guys. This one is called The Expanse series, and it's written by two authors who came together to collaborate on the series, and they are going by James S.A. Corey. And I just want to go to the back to read a little bit about the authors so you can understand where they're coming from. So I'm just going to read the portion that says meet the author. So James S.A. Corey is the pen name of fantasy author Daniel Abraham, who wrote The Age of Ash, which is a series that I want to read as well. So I've got The Age of Ash book one on my shelves as well. And then Ty Frank, who is George R.R. Martin's assistant. They both live in Albuquerque in New Mexico, and yeah, they came together to write the Expanse series. So the TV series is streaming on Amazon Prime Video, and I can't wait to watch it, but I wanted to read the books first before getting into the series. And I think this is like an 8-part series, or in the stores I saw up to 8 books, but right now I only have the first 3 books because I started buying them like mad earlier this year, and then I had to stop myself after the 3rd one because I'm like, Charity, you haven't even started it. So start reading it, figure out if you actually enjoy the series or not, and if you do, then go back and collect the rest of the books. So I think by the end of book 1 I should already know if I'm interested in continuing, and then start buying the rest of the book in the series. So yeah, so I've got the first 3. So book 1 is called Leviathan Wakes, and this is like a space opera, okay? And book 2 is called Caliban's War, and then book 3 is called Abaddon's Gate. And I know that James S.A. Corey has come out with a new book in a new series, but the way the covers look, it looks very similar to this, and I feel like I definitely need to read this one before I even get started on the new release. The rest of the books, book 4 is called Kibula's Burn, book 5 is Nemesis Games, book 6 is Babylon's Ashes, book 7 is Persepolis Rising, and book 8 is called Tiamat's Wrath. So I've been collecting these books. I've been buying them from Reader's Warehouse, and for these paperbacks, they're selling them for like 180 a piece, which is cheap, guys. It's really, really cheap. And I had started buying them in paperback, but then as I kept going back, I see that they've got the hardbacks as well, like in trilogies, like in packs of 3 for about 500, 550, which is cheap. It's cheap, but I've already started collecting in trade paperback, so I'm going to continue to collect only in trade paperback because I like my book series to match. I like my books to match, and in size, in color if possible, because I try to do rainbow shelves and it's a bit of a mess if the books in a series don't look the same and I can't keep them next to each other. So yeah, this is the next series that I want to read and finish in 2025, because also this, I believe, is a complete series. So again, no excuses. I just need the time to sit and read all of these books. And then last but definitely cannot be least, because this is one series that I'm really really excited to get into, but it's one that I'm also still collecting the physical copies of. And this author also does not need any introduction from me, and I'm talking about Brandon Sanderson. And the series that I want to get into in 2025 is the Stormlight Archives. Now there's a new release that came out, I want to say in November now, and everybody's raving about it. Everybody that I watch have been rereading the Stormlight Archives in preparation for that book. And there's like 6 books, guys. Or how many books are in the series? Let me tell you. There's 5 books in the series already, right? Book 6 came out. So if you're like me and you're collecting it in parts, so this is, for example, book 1, part 1. I essentially need to collect 10 books, which is a lot of money for me. That's like 3,600. I think how much, let's say 3,200 is how much I'm gonna need to spend to own all of these books. It's a lot of money, because also I refuse to buy the bind up of part 1 and part 2 because it's almost like double the size of this one. And when I looked at it in the store, the writing was much smaller. I mean, look how compact this writing is. I cannot do this for 1,200 pages, okay? I needed it to be split, and I feel like they will make my rainbow shelves look amazing when I've got a whole bunch of white just for Brandon Sanderson. So this one is 594 pages. That's 600. Get part 2, I've got 1,200 page book. So I'm not gonna have it in one bind up unless I was collecting the hardcovers, which I'm not. That's a luxury for another day. But yeah, with me, I've got The Way of Kings, book 1, part 1. And then I've got Words of Radiance, book 1, part 1. And then I've got Rhythm of War, which is book 4, part 2. So you can see I still have a lot of books to collect. And what I've been doing, and I also said this to Vuvu the other day, that I haven't been buying a lot of books. You guys will see if you've watched my recent book haul, you'll see that I literally had 1 book that I had bought, because I'm stepping away from buying just any random books and just spending all my monies to finish collecting the Stormlight Archives, because 1, it's also very difficult to, my memory card got full, but I was saying that it's very difficult to find these books, especially in the different parts, and I don't want to take the risk of ordering them online from like TAKEALOT or any book selling site, because I'm afraid that they will come back with like different covers or like the wrong one. So I want to physically go and find and look for these books. And there is a bookstore that I actually found in Four Ways Mall that I saw has a lot more copies than like your exclusive books. And yeah, so that's my main focus right now, to work on collecting all of these books, because I really want to get into the series next year. And this would have been, if everything goes right, this would be the 2nd series that I read from Brandon Sanderson, because I am planning on reading Mistborn in December. The first era of Mistborn, I want to read that in December. So this is the first book, and this is part 1. So at the back it says, "Speak again the ancient oaths," right? And the oath goes, "Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination, and return to men the shards they once bore. The night's radiance must stand again. Rosha is a world of stone and storms. Its terrifying and frequent tempests have shaped ecology and civilization alike. Animals hide in shells and trees pull in branches. Cities are built only where the land offers shelter. It has been centuries since the fall of the 10 consecrated orders known as the Knights Radiant, but their shard blades and shard plate remain, mystical swords and suits of armor that transform ordinary man into near invincible warriors. Men traded kingdoms for shard blades. Wars were fought for them and won by them. One such war is about to swallow up a soldier, a bright lord, and a young woman scholar. Widely acclaimed for his work completing Robert Johnson's Wheel of Time saga, Oh, I didn't know he did that. Brandon Sanderson now begins a grand cycle of his own, one every bit as ambitious and immersive. So the Wheel of Time, one day, it will be me in the Wheel of Time. I think once I finish this, one day it will be me in the Wheel of Time, because it also has like many books, and I'm just like, let me one series at a time. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into the Stormlight archives. Everybody who reads these books are just amazed at the way Brandon Sanderson has put together the story, and I can't wait to be part of the people who are like enjoying the series so much that they want to keep going back and rereading over and over again, because it's also another one that just screams epic. Okay, but yeah, that is a list of all of the series that I want to start in 2025. Let me know down below if you guys have any specific reading plans for the next year. Have you started making plans? I'm a planner, so I like to know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I'm a planner, okay? And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into all of these books. After all of this, now I need to go and list all of these books on my call pile sheet so that I can keep track of them and remember which series I've planned to read next year, so that I don't get confused. You know what I mean? Sometimes you forget, there's new books that comes out, you get excited and you forget about the ones that are on the shelves, which has been a problem for probably most of us. But yeah, these are all my books. Let me know down below your reading plans for next year. Thank you for watching this video, and if you made it this far, leave me a crown emoji or a sword emoji for The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. The birds are going crazy, you guys. Can you hear them? I hope not.